All right. We got a Dynamite. Just before Double or Nothing. Now, I'm going to say this. It was not a bad show. It wasn't. They did give us more than a few vid packages. But I don't know about you, but I was having problems looking at the replay of it because there was really some problems with a lot of glitching in the replays. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just where I was watching. Because I still watch on the app. That's necessary to see it. But it was just glitching for me. So some of the things I did miss. And I had to go somewhere else to see the rest. But let me give you this. Am I interested in Double or Nothing? Not necessarily. Because if you look at what we had here, you wonder, why didn't they book this into the show? I know that they're going to do at least a 4 or 5 hour show. I know. And most of it will be matches that could be on a Dynamite. But there was one match here that I'm like, why wasn't it set for Double or Nothing? Why? Let's open. The Bucks and Y2J versus Ricochet, Andrade, and the new national champion. Here's the thing. You see the people that's going to be in the Stampede. This is the thing. I'm really not interested in the Stampede Arena match. Excuse me. I'm just not interested in it. Not because it's going to be a bad match. I'm sure it's going to be a good match. But it just feels like it was just thrown out there because they didn't really know what to do with the Bucks, Y2J, Hurt Syndicate, The Demand, a little bit of the Don Callis family. I'm like, it just feels like they didn't know what else to do for Double or Nothing. So they just threw us this match just to get it done. And yes, it's going to be one of the largest Stadium Stampede matches they've ever had. But I'm like, do I care? No. Why haven't you built up Y2J more properly? Why does Jericho feel lesser than what he is? And they're really trying hard to put... Let's make it clear. They really want Ricochet to succeed. I'm not going to lie. They are pushing Ricochet. Do I believe that he deserves it? After all that he's done, at least on television, if it was a year and a half ago, if this was done a year and a half ago, yes. But this is a year and a half later. And he was national champion. But I don't feel anything from him. Do I care about the Demand? No. If you're going to try and make Ricochet mean something, he should have been pushing the main event a year ago. And stayed there. Like MJF. Like John Moxley. And not hit on the head all the time because he was so bald. Look, I know I'm balding. I'm lucky to have anything on my head. But do you see me or see someone rubbing my head while I'm on this channel? No. And they did that to Ricochet multiple times. And I'm like, what is the blue fuck of the point? You're trying to make Ricochet mean something. But almost a year ago, you had people rubbing that bald head and then smacking the living crap out of it. And I'm like, what was the point? And now you're trying to make him important with Jericho. And it feels stupid. Because you never did. If you really want to mean something special, particularly after working with Swerve, he should never been treated the way he was, where people were shining up his damn bald head and smacking it like it was something special, like a good luck charm. It should have never happened. It's not the point if it was funny or not. It was the point that you should never did it, because that's what I think of when I look at Ricochet dealing with Chris Jericho. The bald-headed man who got his head rubbed a whole bunch of times, dealing with someone. Yes, it's Chris Jericho. He's not as relevant as he is now, but he was the one that was most important when this company started, and that means something. Moving on. Let me give you like this. Do I care about Connor? Nope. Do I care about Connor screwing over Nick? Nope. Because they don't really mean anything. So seeing that the Don Callis family got a win from one of their people, which was Andrade, on Nick, yeah, that's kind of good. But then, it doesn't really feel as important. Because what are you doing with Andrade Alilios? Nothing. Hell, it would have been better for him to go after the national championship. And I know that's not great. But he should have been the one who should have won the national championship, not Miles Davis. I'm remembering Davis's name wrong. Sorry if I'm remembering his name wrong. I'm just frustrated. Moving on. Ciampa versus Mark Briscoe. Anything goes match, which should have never happened. I'm saying it again. Ciampa, who's always had a standing feud with Mark Briscoe, had an anything goes match before the pay-per-view where he bleeds, and that is Mark Briscoe. Bleeds buckets with a cheese grater, and a good match for what it was. It wasn't great, but it was a good match. Why is it here? They gave Ciampa the TNT title right when he comes in, and then they drop it within 2 to 3 weeks of him being there. And now they give him this match. A match that should have been built up properly. You got two originals from ROH. People still remember both of them. They're still popular, whether you hate them or love them. And you didn't build their story up. Mark had to go away, come back. I don't know if he was injured or he just took a break. He comes back. And then you give us this match with no build. Nothing. Just saying we're going to have this match. Mark's back. He wants his revenge on Ciampa. Why didn't you build up the revenge for Ciampa? Why aren't you putting it on Double or Nothing? Where two guys who've known each other for so long, you could have built a real story around them, and you did not. I'm sorry, guys. This I am not agreeing with. I'm not. This was wrong. Ciampa deserved better. Mark Briscoe deserved better. And I understand about Tommaso Ciampa. He was not being utilized in WWE. Let's make it clear, he wasn't. He wanted to prove that he could still go. I understand that. But there's a point where as much as you can get in the ring and just show you're doing banger after banger after banger matches, taking it from them, taking it from Sheamus and Claudio Castagnoli when they were together, the point here is this, that you deserve to have a story to go with it. If it's just a match, you could just put them on the beginning of the show every night of Collision and of Dynamite, and that would give it to him. But he wanted more. He wanted to prove that he's still one of the best pro wrestlers, not a wrestler. He deserves a story. And he didn't get it. And Mark deserves a story. And he doesn't have it. And it feels like a waste of time. Moving on. Next match. A number one contenders match. In other words, that's what it is. If Kyle O'Reilly beats or lasts the 20 minutes, he finally gets a number one contender position. So he can go up at Moxley at Double or Nothing. Why? Why couldn't you just let us just have Kyle just talk a little bit, and then Moxley talk a little bit, and then set this match up at Double or Nothing, because it is the rubber match. He's tapped out twice. Look, after he lost that match, it was a good match, wasn't a bad one. He won the match. Well, technically he won the match because it drawed 20 minutes. Nobody lost, nobody won. It was a draw, so he gets that shot against Moxley. Fine. But why not have that very same speech tonight and then have the match this Sunday? Why? Does it have to always be just a match? Are you not better than WWE? Come on. I'm not asking for a huge vid pack. We got 3 vid packs. Look, we got the Stampede in the Arena vid pack. We got the vid pack between Okada and Kateska. We got Darby Allin's vid pack with MJF. Yeah, they repeat. It's not wrong with having a repeat. At least we got the vid packs. We did. We got talk of the Owen Hart's tournament. And I will talk about Willow in a few minutes. But we did get at least segments. I'm sure I don't know if JD and Jesse are going to actually review this. I don't know if they're reviewing it right now, but I'm like this. You know you need to be a little bit more than WWE AEW because right now WWE doesn't give two damn flips. All they're caring about is this even more than you. And understand, AEW cares about money. They do, but they are delivering wrestling. They are, and I'm going to make this clear to anyone who's watching this. You'll hear me talking, and I sound like I'm crapping on the product, and I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. WWE cares way more about money and making more money off their product, not their wrestling. And AEW is making money from their wrestling, but the wrestling isn't 100% good. It's like 60 to 70%. If they're lucky. And the problem is, the 60 to 70% easily is the wrestling, which has always been very good. But the 30 to 40%, which brings the people in more than the wrestling, is the stories they need to talk, to deliver, to relay emotion, to make the people feel relevant. And they're not doing it very well still. And now they're upset because of the NBA playoffs, because what's going on with baseball, basketball, football. All of this is going on right now. And they're a little butthurt because people are not looking at them. And instead of just making sure they give a good, decently all around, and not asking for everything to be perfect with the music, perfect with the wrestling, perfect with the segments, perfect with the storytelling. I'm asking for fair, decent storytelling with good stories in the ring, good vid packs, okay audio, okay video, okay camera work. I'm not asking to be here. I'm asking to be here at least a little more than half because it's obvious people are not 100% connecting. They were a little while ago, but the minute that football, baseball, basketball comes on, they run off. And they used to not run off. That means there's something missing. More better constructed stories. Moving on. The 8-woman tag. We had the Triangle Chaos and Athena. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen Athena in so long. I don't watch ROH. I still love Athena. I want to make it clear. I love me some Athena. But I am not going to watch ROH only for Athena. I'm not. I'm not going to watch throughout the entire show for Athena. I'm not. Even though I love her. And I wish she was on the main roster. I wish they just let her drop that title and come to the main roster like she should. She should have already been on the main roster. How long has she been the ROH Women's Champion? 2.5 to 3 years now? I don't even remember how long it's been. It's been almost 3 years, I think. You guys tell me below. I don't know. I think she's already hit 3 years with that damn title. At the rate she's going, she's going to break Roman Reigns' championship title run if AEW is going to continue doing that, which would be ridiculous. You're making someone who is legitimately a great pro wrestler, and the match was fine when it came to the Brawling Birds, when it came to Mia Shirakawa and Thunder Rosa. It was all right. It was fine. Seeing Thunder Rosa get missed, I'm not surprised because that's what Julia Hart does now all the time. But the person that looked the best there that I was watching was Athena. Because you don't see her often on there. She has recognition as Ember Moon. People love Athena. They've been giving her this title reign for almost near 3 years, or at 3 years now. And she's still not on the main roster. She's still holding onto a title that doesn't really mean anything. No matter how much you want to love ROH, I want her to drop that title and come to AEW's Dynamite. I don't want to see her on ROH. I don't. She deserves better than this. I'm just saying. You guys tell me what if I'm wrong or not. Just tell me if I'm not nuts. But the match was all right. Like I said, Athena got misted. No, not Athena. Thunder Rosa got misted. Fine. Okay. But what does this mean? Well, I believe Tekla will be up against somebody in the Owen Hart's tournament. I can't remember. But I do know Athena is going up against somebody. I think she's going up against Mina Shirakawa. I can't remember who's in the first bracket. I can't remember. I'm blanking. Now, move on to the last match I'm going to talk about before the thing I'm going to say. Darby Allin versus... I like Mike Ball. You see him botching when it comes to Speedball Mike Bailey. I've seen him since he was in Impact Wrestling. I know he's a great wrestler. I know that he's done well as a wrestler. I didn't like his knee pads at first. I'm not going to lie. I didn't like his knee pads. I felt like they were not shaped right. They were wiggling everywhere. He didn't make them tight enough. I didn't like them. But he grew on me enough that I not only respected him, I liked him. And seeing him in AEW, seeing him working with Kevin Knight, I had no problem with him. But now, he's going after Darby Allin. Where, of course, you know they're not going to let him job on a Dynamite before Double or Nothing. And I'm like, he's intelligent enough. He talks well. He may not be cut like Kevin Knight, but he's an okay wrestler. But when it comes to AEW, the smaller wrestlers, they just want to use them as basically wrestling highlights. That's it. They barely booked them to really be something important. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it. At this point, you know what I wish? This is me. No one else. A part of me wishes that it reaches a point in WWE that it gets so bad that Shawn Michaels gets so pissed off, so annoyed that he just can't get anything done the way he wants because, of course, his best friend's got to report to what he's got to do because he's got to make more money. If you got to cut people, bring people in to the main roster when they're not ready, or if they are ready and he needs them for the show and he can't get them, that Shawn Michaels quits WWE. He wants out of his contract, he quits, and he goes to AEW and he says to Tony Khan, let me run it. I know what I'm doing. Let me do your creative. Because he's done pretty well when he's allowed to do the work in NXT. He's not perfect. I've told you guys. HBK is not perfect. But at least he did 101 booking. At least he was able to do general booking that was pretty good. That's what they need here. They don't need the most expert booking, the most handcrafted booking. They just need good booking. I wish HBK would go there. I know he won't. He's not going to leave unless really they force him to do a pay cut. And he says, hell no. And they say, well, you got to leave. And he leaves. That is what I think would happen. I want him to go to AEW and hopefully they would listen to him. I'm not expecting him to do 100% listen, but I hope they would listen because he can book. He booked NXT UK pretty well. He's booked the 2.50 of NXT, he did a pretty good job. And the 3.0, he did okay. But the 3.50 of course, his best friend coming back into it and telling him, I want this, do it. This is what we get. Moving on. Did the match look good? Yes, it did. Did MJF try to interfere by trying to save Speedball at least once? Yes, he did. Did MJF try to screw over Darby Allin? He couldn't get his hands on him. But in the end, Darby won. He did beat Speedball, and MJF was so pissed off he walked away. He couldn't handle it. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that happened. It was going to happen. The vid pack was done pretty well when it came to talking about how important a rug on someone's head means to them. But I want to be honest here. I would rather see him go through the same thing that Cody and Hangman Adam Page went through. Where he, if he wants another rematch, must go through the same stipulation. If he does not win, he misses his opportunity to ever get another shot at that title. Because he put two other people through it. Now, he's got to go through it. Yes, it would be a little cliche. Of course it's going to be cliche. But I think it would have worked. He didn't have to lose. Because I made it clear right now. Darby is the key here. It's not MJF losing his hair or getting the title. It's what they're going to do with Darby after it's over, after this run is over. Is he going to be in the main event or not? It's not the point if I like him in the main event or you like him. It's about showing that someone that's a staple of this company is actually being treated correctly and is being pushed in the main event, even if he's not 100% having to be connected to the title. Just make sure he's got proper storylines. That's the big question here. Finally, this is the last thing we're going to talk about. Now, I know I can talk about what happened with Swerve and Bandito. I don't need to. You already know they're going to have the match. And that one, I do believe that's for the Owen Hart tournament. But the key here is this. Willow Nightingale is now out. She's out of the Owen Hart tournament and she relinquished her title. She's supposedly injured on her shoulder. I think it was her right shoulder. Her right shoulder. Now, if I remember correctly, at least a month or so ago, Willow Nightingale had an issue. She had some type of breakout of hives. Heavy amounts of hives all over her chest, her stomach. No one knew what it was. She didn't know what was going on. In fact, if you look at a picture, I don't know if I'm going to stick a picture in my face. I probably won't, but if I do, here it is. You could see the mark on her chest of where that hives were before. If they're still there, I wouldn't be surprised. But now Willow Nightingale, one of the staples of the women's division, is out because of a shoulder injury, if that is what it is. It could also be those hives. I don't know. They may have... Remember, if she was having another issue other than a shoulder, they would write her off saying it's a shoulder injury. Now, I don't know if it's a shoulder injury or if it's actually that breakout she had at least maybe a month or so ago. Now, if I remember correctly, I did remember hearing someone else have that same problem. Raquel Rodriguez. She also had a breakout. She literally broke out in hives. No one knew what was going on with her either. So it's a possibility that she also might have the same type of situation that Willow Nightingale had, but like a couple of years ago. Don't know. But the question now is, what does this mean for the women's division? They've now relinquished the title. She made it very clear she wanted to go through the Owen. She supposedly hurt her shoulder, which possibly it is a shoulder injury. Or it could be what I said, that she broke out in hives over a month ago, and now there's a breakout again. Because if you notice Willow, she was wearing a lot of makeup. I mean, her face was heavy with makeup. And that's a possibility that could be the hives. She might be broken out pretty badly because of the hives. But if that is it, who now takes her place as TNT champion? Is it going to be, what? Chris Statlander? Is it going to be Mira Shirakawa? One of the Brawling Brutes? Of course, it's the Brawling Birds, so I'm calling them Brawling Brutes at this point. Because they want to act like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. That's what they want to do. But the point here is this. Who do we get to replace her? To be honest, the best person might be Camille. Camille is back. Camille is working. I would rather see Camille become the TNT champ because she has the pedigree. She was almost 2.5 years as NWA World's Champion. She held the belt pretty well. And she can wrestle. She's also famous working in American Gladiators. She could do it. But the question would be, will they go there with her? I don't know. But it's just me, and I hope you enjoy this. Give me a comment below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace. I'm doing this instead of this. Peace.